I was just thinking, so if Chris and I do some kind of like podcast every week, I'm not sure. Me and him will have to talk about like the format of it. Like, are we just going to talk about new things in tech? Are we going to give like tips on how to fix your computer? Maybe we could do both. I don't know. Trying to think of what would like set us apart from like something similar to like Wayne's show or something. I don't want to just sit and go over a bunch of headlines. Although doing a couple would be kind of neat. I mean, maybe we just do the headlines that is interesting to Chris and I. I don't know. Email questions as a subject matter. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Are
We
we
could
talking
even
about? Are
do.
we talking about our podcast?
Yeah, I was asking them like, so like instead of just trying to be what everybody else is, what's gonna like if we did do that, what would separate us and be different? But
Yeah, I already have a YouTube like channel and presence specifically set up for something like that called These Random Things.
I think doing some news would be cool, but I think it would only be like the topics that you and I really think are important. So I would hate to be like Wan's show goes through so many different topics. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be the WAN show, but I also
5 hours
would.
long.
Yeah, I also wouldn't want to be the RTFM. But yeah, no, I that's something that I would definitely, because I mean you have like your areas of knowledge are like completely different than mine. Like there are certain things you know way more than I do, and then there's certain things I know way more than you do, and then Token knows way more about something else than you and I. So it's like there's a lot of, it's crazy how we can all do the same thing, and not like have a huge amount of overlap in what we know.
Redaxar says he uses Twitch as basically just an audio thing. The problem with just an audio podcast, especially when you're doing things like in tech, is if you want to show somebody, like, here's a cool tool I found and here's how you use it, there's a big visual component to that.
There can be, but I'm the same as him. I know Emily. We could have you on there as a guest every once in a while. Um, I listen to the WAN show while I'm driving. Like 100%.
Right.
So I mean that's just me, but I know there are a lot of people out there who are like that. I'm so happy that this computer's now working.
That is a tiny little thing.
Yeah, have you never seen these guys before?
I don't think I've seen that specific one.
So these Dell Optiplexes, see, this one doesn't have it. You can kind of see there's like some, like, this is actually designed to have a VESA mount bracket on the back of it, and this is designed to literally slot into the back of a Dell monitor or any monitor that has that.
Okay, I have seen those then. I don't think I've worked on them.
And I 100% recommend, like, if you have $300 that you want to spend on a computer, buy one of these refurbished. And like, because you will get a much more powerful computer than like you could just drop buying something new. Sure, this might be like a generation or two old, but like when these things are new, like this one here, new was $900, and this guy got it for $180.
Which model is that specifically?
This one is the Optiplex 7080. Let me see if I can get more specific.
7080 Micro.
Yeah, 7080 Micro.
I'm just looking on, like, what's the street value of them on eBay?
It's low. Look at Amazon.
It's not so much low on eBay. We're like 300 plus.
All right, so this one might be too new. Like, I know this guy got this for $300, so I know that's what he spent on it. Let me go to. Let's go to this. I'm trying to remember what I searched for. It's Dell.
Yeah, they're about 330 on eBay. Wow, I see a 320 though. It's a Core i3, 8 gigs of RAM. Oh, that's a DDR3 though. I wouldn't go there. Never mind.
Yeah, so they have like these guys are refurbished. Like, here you go. Here's like for someone that only wants to spend $300 on a computer, like an i5 4570T, 16 gigs of RAM, and 512 SSD.
Yeah, you can't even hardly get
for
the
160 bucks.
SSD and the RAM for that.
Like honestly, like, all right, this or yeah, no, if you are yeah, if you're not going to play any video games, you don't need to worry about upgrading. Like if I was going to get my mom a desktop, I would get her one of these. 100%. Like compare this to what you can get in a comparable laptop. Like for 150 bucks, you're getting an HP Stream level computer. Like, well, let's say you want something a couple generations newer, right? Say spend an additional 100 bucks, $270. You now get an i7 6700 with 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 SSD, and Windows 10 Pro. Like that, you can't beat that. And for the and like it uses it uses this as a power adapter, so it's not like the power supply inside is going to fail. The only downside to this specific one that this guy hasn't realized he has yet is this uses a DisplayPort cable. So when he finds that out, he's going to be a little bit chuffed about that. But that was his purchase. He bought it without talking to me. So
Well, that's an easy adapter, though.
yeah, I have one on there now. I can sell them for 30 bucks.
I actually prefer when they come with DisplayPort because you can adapt it down to anything.
Yeah. It's hilarious. I have this at, let's see, I want to say 2 years ago, I got a DisplayPort to HDMI cable. Oh, you missed us talking about the structure of our YouTube show, our talk show, our podcast. We're going to call it Ride or Mind or Die. Anyways, I got a DisplayPort to HDMI cable from Best Buy, an Insignia. And I decided to take I had a 4K monitor just chilling here that I was using for testing that I haven't used in a while. So I took the monitor home, plugged it in, hooked it up. Well, I'm sitting there, I'm using it, I'm doing some coding and stuff, and suddenly my screen starts turning itself on and off. And I'm like, huh, that's strange. So I restart the computer, and that didn't help the situation at all. So I'm like, all right, let me check the cable. I reach back, I grab the HDMI connector, and I give myself a first-degree burn.
Oh.
So I quickly grabbed the cable and pulled it out, and I'll be perfectly honest, I've never grabbed a cable that wasn't inside of a computer case that was that hot before. I still have a little bit of I still got a little bit of a red line you can kind of see from where I grabbed the connector on my hand. Because
wow.
it was that hot. And then I picked up a DisplayPort to DisplayPort cable, no problem. So there was something up with that cable, and I'm not sure what it was. It was surprising to that's the best way to it wasn't like, ow, I'm gonna die. It was like, ow, that was hot. So
Must have been defective.
yeah, it's got to be. And the crazy part is I've been using it for 2 years. I got it, I was using, my home setup, I have an LG 4K 60 hertz monitor as my primary, HDR and everything. And then I have a cheap, what brand is it? A BenQ. I have two cheap BenQs now. I have a cheap BenQ that it sits to the right of it. That's actually the same panel as my front one, as my main one, but it has different software on it, so it doesn't work as well. And then I have this BenQ that I just took home. And originally, instead of my left BenQ, I had a 42-inch 4K TV that I was using as a monitor. Because, for the money, you couldn't beat that. It was $150 for a 4K TV. I got it during one of Best Buy's Christmas sales. Picture quality was not great. The refresh rate was garbage, but I got 4K gaming out of it. I played all of StarCraft 2 on that thing.
I've been playing at least 3 StarCraft 2 games a day. I've been trying to.
I was gonna say we actually got to play. If you're have you done any 1v1 stuff?
I do sometimes, but I find it so much more interesting to play with other people. So I've been trying to do a lot of teams.
Yeah. I was gonna say because if you're 1v1 platinum right now, you're much better than me right now.
No, my 1v1, I think I'm only gold something.
Yeah, that's where I
but
live.
my team, especially my 3v3, is platinum tier 2 or something.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it's the competition is much lower there for sure. Your DisplayPort just supplies power to main board LEDs. I know when you explain that to me, Radaxer. I don't know what is actually. How do you actually say your name? I'm assuming it's Radaxer. I'm like, there's something wrong. Your DisplayPort should not be powering your motherboard.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he was telling me this earlier today. Let me see if I can find it in the chat. He has like this. No, I can't go back far enough. When he has a DisplayPort cable plugged in to his video card, the LEDs on his motherboard light up.
Oh, that's normal. Like you can see that on a lot of Asus boards that have the diagnostic LEDs. The white one will come on. I forget what it means, but it's actually normal.
For like, I have never seen that personally. I've never seen just like having no power going to the rest of the computer and then just plugging in a DisplayPort cable and suddenly the motherboard getting power.
Yeah, DisplayPort can transfer power.
Well, yeah, I was aware that it could transfer power because of the what's it called? Because you can daisy chain and it can do like USB. But like, I had never seen that specifically. So there you go, Rad.
Yeah, there's 3.3. There's a 3.3 volt rail in DisplayPort that can send power. Technically, it can go both ways, I believe. Not all cables have that 3.3 volt though.
Yeah, that's very true.
Cheaper ones won't have it.
Yeah, and like, how do you determine what a cheap cable is? Like, you can't just go off of like the manufacturer, because like even like relatively high-end manufacturers have like really crap cables. But I think that's the end of your day, man.
Yep, it is 4 o'clock.
Man, time flies when you're having fun, right? Again, I thank you greatly. Enjoy the computer.
No problem. If you want to look more into that DisplayPort thing, I think if you Google DisplayPort Pin 20, you'll get a whole bunch of information on it. It can actually cause certain motherboards to boot loop even. So yeah, it's...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, if Rad shows back up, I'll send this over to him.
Alrighty, you have a good one, man.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later this week.
Bye-bye.
Always fun talking with Joe. Such a wealth of knowledge.